morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Left Pedal, and last week we got to tear it up in a 2022 Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. Today we're going to take a closer look at the car's technical details and performance specs and see what's going on under the hood. Should be a pretty fun episode. We're going to cover a lot in the next few minutes, so let's get into it. The one we drove last week was an RT Scat Pack, meaning it's powered by a big ol' naturally aspirated 392, aka a 6.4 liter Hemi V8 that doesn't need a turbo or a supercharger to be powerful. Now the thing about Mopar is they like to give you options. At the bottom of the engine lineup you've got the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6. Still impressive, making just over 300 horsepower, the Pentastar is a very good engine. It's not a high-powered V8, but it'll still push you back into your seat. Next, you've got the classic 5.7 liter Hemi in the RT models. This engine makes 375 horsepower and is a great V8. The Challenger's a heavy car though, and it might still leave you wanting a little more power. Then there's the 392 in the Scat Pack like we drove last week, which is the most powerful naturally aspirated engine in the lineup. At 485 horsepower, this one feels like a proper muscle car. Then the supercharged 6.2 liter V8 in the Hellcat, pushing 717 horsepower and 656 pound-feet of torque. I've driven a Hellcat exactly one time, and that is all it takes to want one for the rest of your life. Finally, at the top of the line is a high-output 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi found in the Hellcat Redeye. This monstrous engine makes an absolutely insane 800 horsepower with 700 pound-feet of torque. The Challenger needs big engine options because it's a big car. The weight obviously varies between trim options, but even the lightest Challengers weigh in at 3,800 pounds, with the heaviest options topping out at 4,400 pounds. For reference, that's about as heavy as the Jeep Wrangler we drove a few weeks ago. The Challenger is 198 inches long and 76 inches wide. It's 57 inches tall with a wheelbase of 116 inches. Unlike the muscle cars of the past, the Challenger can turn at least a little bit. Now, it doesn't handle as well as really any other performance car, and anyone that tells you otherwise is trying to sell you a Challenger. It's a big beefy monster. That being said, it did surpass my expectations. It's a pretty planted vehicle due to its impressive suspension. The Challenger features a four-wheel independent suspension with an adaptive dampening system allowing you to tune the car's handling on the go, depending on how you plan on driving it. The brakes in the car were very impressive. Our Scat Pack featured big Brembo disc brakes with 4-piston calipers and 14-inch rotors, allowing the 2-ton car to drop from 60 miles an hour to a complete stop in only 116 feet. Of course, this is a muscle car. You don't care about stopping, you care about going fast and looking hot. The V6 models don't really go fast, but they do look hot. The Pentastar engine gets the car from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 5.5 seconds with a top speed of 130 to 145 miles an hour. The RT with the 5.7 Hemi breaks below the 5-second mark with a 4.8 second 0 to 60 and a top speed of 155. The Scat Pack really starts to pick up the pace with a 0 to 60 time of 4.2 seconds and a top speed of 174 miles an hour. The Hellcat is another big jump on performance with a 203 mile per hour top speed and a sub 4 second 0 to 60 time. Finally, the Redeye at the top of the line also goes 203 miles an hour, but gets from 0 to 60 miles an hour in under 3.5 seconds. Now let's talk about quarter mile times, because that's what these cars are really built for. Instead of going through the list again, I thought I'd make a little animation and show you exactly how much it varies between models. Now keep in mind that all these numbers are for the 2022 models because that's what we drove in the review. Most of the Challengers you see on the road are not going to be Scat Packs and Hellcats anyways. In reality, most people buy the cheaper V6. And this is because it's such a good looking car. It's definitely the most classic looking muscle car on the road right now. It's still very square and beefy, and it gets people's attention whether they like it or not. The fact that it looks so classic means that people aren't very welcoming to changes. The new Challenger's been out for well over a decade now, and it still looks basically the same as it did in 2008. Since its appearance didn't evolve as much as the Camaro or the Mustang, Chrysler had to figure out a way to make people keep buying them. So they just kept getting faster and faster and faster. The Dodge Challenger dominated the 2010s as the truest muscle car out there. While Dodge has seemed to be pretty reluctant to make big changes to the Challenger, it looks like they're switching everything up for 2024. But that's for another episode. If you want to see more about the experience in the Scat Pack, check out last week's video. It's part of a very fun series I've been doing, and the Mopar really surpassed my expectations. Anyways, thank you for watching, consider subscribing to us here at The Left Pedal, and I will see you next time.